This episode is brought to you by Maponics, specializing in predefined geofences for local and mobile targeting. Visit www.maponics.com/location for a free 3-month trial today. It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. We are at episode number 62, and today is, in fact, Sunday, January 29th. We are late in the evening. All-Star game has just finished up in my city, Ottawa. Team Alfie did not win. We'll talk about that, I'm sure. My name is Rob Woodbridge, found at Untethered.tv, and with me always from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Take it away!
Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association.
Well, Asif, welcome. Episode number 62. We got a jam-packed show. You know that because you're the one who finds these great stories. We got a great interview with Shopcastr and Matt O'Leary, who's the co-founder and the CEO. But first, we got to cover this. It was like the Alfie love-in this weekend. If you're not a hockey fan, you missed this. The All-Star game was in Ottawa. I'm not a big fan of the All-Star game, but boy, was I ever a fan of the way that this city embraced Daniel Alfredsson, king of captains in the NHL.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, says the Toronto guy. Anyway, it was a good show.
No, that's a stretch, I think.
Yeah. Well, the king of captains. I'm starting it here. The king of captains.
Even though I'm a Toronto guy, I'll say Messier was probably one of the best captains.
Yeah, exactly. He was. He was by far the best. Classy guy. Pardon us. We're Canadian, and it's in our blood. But the classiest of classy guys is that Messier, his captain, would when any rookie would come up for a game, his first game, there would be a Hugo Boss suit waiting for him in his locker when he arrived. So think about that. A rookie, not making a lot of money, more than you and I right now doing this podcast, but he was not making a lot of money. And Mess would always make sure that there was a Hugo Boss tailored suit with his sizes, with that rookie size, in the locker when he arrived. And I think that's a class act. Boy, oh boy, was that ever a class act. Talk about onboarding, right?
Absolutely.
I didn't get you a Hugo Boss suit when we started this. No. You didn't get one for me either.
No, I didn't. Still owe you a t-shirt.
Exactly. I haven't even gotten a shirt. Okay, if I don't get one by next week, I'm going topless.
Okay, done.
Jeez. That'll push everybody to the audio version. So, big week, as we said, about what was going on inside of this industry this week. But let's talk about DX3 in Canada. You were in Toronto. You live in Toronto, but you did the DX3 conference this past week. What was that like?
It was great. It was, a first-time trade show / conference happening in Toronto. And for a first-time show, I was pretty impressed. Almost 4,000 delegates in attendance, a couple hundred exhibitors. It was pretty sweet. And the session I did, all the sessions were like super high quality content in terms of speakers, like CEOs and senior executives from every major payments company and Groupon and all the companies that you would expect. So anyhow, it was a good show, and I expect sort of them to just be able to build on it for next year. So
that's great. I followed it from afar. Unfortunately, I was speaking here in Ottawa on Wednesday, and I couldn't get out there to go and see you guys. But certainly, great quality guys. Obviously, you and Amber Mack and Doug over at Retail Profit, and
that's right.
There were just an incredible number of great speakers from Torstar. Man, it went on and on and on. So I heard some very positive things, definitely. So what's on the sched for you this week? Are you in the city?
I'm still around this week, and even most of next week. So there you go.
Holy cow! And then it's off, right? And then you're disappearing over Valentine's Day.
It's crazy, but anyhow.
Yeah. Well, we got a big week of stories coming in. Certainly we've got some funding conversations and acquisition. Waterloo Company buying a California-based company. We're going to talk about some competition to Siri. We're going to talk about Groupon and kiosks. We're going to talk about a great thing, not real estate, but train company.
Yep.
Getting into location-based marketing and location-aware mobile websites. So packed. So we might as well jump into this with what I think is a great story. Competition. I love competition. It's something that actually raises the bar around innovation and certainly we need this. And this is a competitor to Siri, which, as everybody knows, is on the iPhone 4S from Apple, and certainly there's and this is a company called, or a product called Evie, right?
Yeah, so we had Siri, now we got Evie. Maybe next we'll have Amy or something like that.
Well, I know that next we'll have, when it comes to, I mean, Google is doing this as well, Magel, I think, and that's their version for the Android. Everybody's getting into voice. This is going to be the year of voice. It's going to be very interesting. So let's talk about Evie.
Yeah, so Evie's a product from a company called TrueKnowledge, and it's available for both Android and iOS. The Android version is free to download, and if you want the Apple version, it's 99 cents.
Why?
In North America, or 69 pence over in the UK, where this thing's from. So, yeah, because they have some licensing fees they have to pay. In order to access it in the U.S., so that's why there's a slight cost there.
What's the difference between Evie and Siri? Is there enough of a difference? Like they were talking about that, like one's a more advanced search algorithm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the key difference here is you know, they were basically talking about the diversity in terms of what Evie can do in terms of how it answers questions, and because it's not just, you know, responding from a database that's directly connected to it. It's actually crawling and searching and finding other content in Google and Yelp and other places. And the example that they gave, TechCrunch, who reported on this, gave an example where they said, you know, if you ask Siri how to make an apple pie, it'll suggest that you go and search on the web. Whereas Evie will come back and link to you some recipes that you can check out.
A little bit deeper linking.
A little bit deeper, yeah.
And you know what's interesting about it though is that you know, one of the great things that I find appealing about Siri is the integration with the calendaring and the task apps that are built into the iPhone. And this one doesn't have that. I don't think anybody will, because that's certainly Apple's competitive advantage. They're not going to open that up to third-party apps yet, I think. But so, you know, despite those limitations, this seems like Evie seems to me like it's a search tool or a discovery tool, a deeper discovery tool, whereas Siri is kind of a personal assistant. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, because you just don't have the integration to the calendar, as you say, and some of the other pieces. But I think in just terms of voice searching, you know, in deep voice search, you know, this is a good, as you say, this is you know, probably one of the many announcements around voice that we're going to hear this year. So.
Well, yeah, I have one. I'm doing another podcast on Untether. This one's called Impulse, and it's with Peggy Ann Saltz, who runs mobilegroove.com in Germany, and we are actually dedicating an entire month, the month of February, to voice, and we're going to get folks from Nuance and a couple of other of these guys who are building these next generation voice. I think that this is going to be a pretty big year for voice, and it's going to have an impact. We've talked about this across all search engines, because search engines become the farm, and the voice app becomes the delivery mechanism. You add a layer of monetization on top of that, and applications like Evie and Siri and Magel all of a sudden kind of obfuscate the search engines.
Right. It's
pretty cool. So it's available now. You can go and get it. 99 cents on iPhone and free on Android devices. And I almost bought it, but the 99 cents, man, it's too rich. lot of challenges. I was reading some of the comments about it, and as with every new service, it's a little bit overwhelmed with the number of people that have been downloading it. And certainly when you get, you know, on TechCrunch, people are going to go download it. It's overwhelming the servers. It's crashing. So we're getting a lot of that stuff. Same thing happened with Siri when it launched, but it's getting hammered right now. 1 stars everywhere. So I would take a little breather, wait until the service settles down, and they augment their server piece, so that you don't get disappointed with it. So maybe hold off for a day or so. Okay, so that's Evie. Story number 2. Let's talk about Taazza. I guess they rebranded or launched LocalBeat in India.
Yeah. So
did I get that right? Taazza.
Yeah, I think that's how you say it, Taazza. And so basically, this is an app that's been out for a little while, and it was an Android-only app. And now that they've got an iOS version, they decided to use that as an excuse to rebrand. And so now it's called LocalBeat. And Taazza is a company out of Bangalore in India, run by a guy named Arjun Ram, and Arjun is a guy that I've actually met a couple of times. He's spends a little bit of his time in Toronto and most of his time over in India. But great guy, very smart, very connected on where the location-based ecosystem is going. So, like a lot of the apps we talk about, this is a multi-city-based discovery. Deals, events, advertising app, location-based app. So currently 40 cities in India, expanding to 100 shortly. And it does a few other things too, so it's not just finding stuff around you, but you can also report on urban issues and things that need to get fixed in your city and things like that as well. So they've kind of combined some of this, improve your city with, find stuff in your city and connect that way.
Yeah, I like that aspect of this. I mean, this is, I think that a lot of these companies are doing what we think is about to happen, which is, they're rolling it out to these, they're talking about 450 million mobile devices or smartphone capable devices out there that can run this software. So I like the idea that they're going to be collecting that stuff, community based information as well. I like that piece of this. But other than that, it's just kind of another announcement like we've seen so many times before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so where is that? It's at is that LocalBeat? It's not localbeat.com, but Taazza is TAAZZA or ZZA depending on what country you're listening to this in. ZZ or ZZ, right?
Yes.
LocalBeat, interesting. I like how it just spreads. It spreads, man. Third story. This is gonna be fun. Groupon. Groupon is launching what they're partnering with this company called SmartDigital in bringing Groupon to kiosks, man.
Yeah. So
he says with a sigh. I love it.
Yeah. So both these companies are based in Chicago, Groupon and SmartDigital. So they've kind of teamed up, and SmartDigital has a bunch of interactive touchscreen kiosks. And the idea here is offer daily deal, location-based deal through these kiosks in high-traffic areas. Personally, I don't get it, because you got to think in these high-traffic areas, you're talking about a lot of folks who have smartphones anyways, and are they really going to go up to a kiosk to get a deal? I don't know. I can't see it myself, but Asif, you can get weather. You can get weather from this kiosk, man. Yeah. Today's weather. Yeah, but I also have an iPhone where there's like weather built into it.
I know.
Yeah.
You can get videos and trailers. Man, I'm with you on this. But so let's finish this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're obviously offering coupons through this.
Yeah, so this thing got rolled out this week. 100 machines throughout Chicago over the next 90 days. They say, the Navy Pier, Water Tower Place, Hyatt Regency, McCormick are some of the locations where you can check this out if you're in Chicago. I'll be there in a couple weeks. I might stop in and see what this is all about. Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't know.
I'll
leave it at that.
Yeah, they've got 40 or 30 different kiosks across Chicago, and I don't know why this Groupon would do something like this, anyways. But these kiosks are, it's insane. It's like one big, huge smartphone, but their tagline is pretty good. It's like now you can really and truly engage with your customers, win your location. You know what? Don't spend it on a big device, a big screen. Make sure you just do the small screen right. Man. Yeah. It's like kiosks.
I don't get it.
Kiosks are done.
They talk about sharing too. So you walk up to the kiosk and you see a deal, and then you can send it in an email to your friend.
I know. Put it on your Facebook page.
On Facebook. Like, I don't know.
Text it to yourself or buy it. Like, swipe your credit card right there. It's like, you know what? I really got to tell you that I don't like coming onto this show. I love effort, I love innovation, and I love things moving forward. But I'm gonna put this out there: the kiosks, as we know it, are dead. It's just time to move on.
Right.
It's just time to move on. The kiosk that people have, Amazon got it right. The kiosk is this, buddy. Right? This is the kiosk. This little thing that you have in your pocket, that's the kiosk. Yeah. I don't care if it's a smartphone or a feature phone. This is the kiosk. And this is what Maponics does really well. Little plug for Maponics is that, you know what? The kiosk is where you are, and it's just getting the right information to the right person at the right time.
Exactly.
So, man, I don't know what Groupon's doing here, but yeah. I don't even have anything more to say about this other than kiosks, interactive kiosks. And it's got this big keyboard. There's a great video if you just look it up. Like a great big keyboard that you're pushing like this, right? And it's in public. And you can take photos of yourself and send them to your friends. I'm like, come on! Anyway.
Don't worry, next they're going to have it in a photo booth.
Exactly. It's going to be like, well, here, SmartDigital rolling out photo booths and Groupon coupons everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. Anyways, I apologize, SmartDigital, but just, yeah, carry on. Yeah. Okay. All right, so from the Sublime, which is compared to this next story, SmartDigital, into adsonmap.com, which is location-based classifieds. This is interesting, but again, it's kind of explain it, and then we'll talk. Please explain it to me.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's revolutionary as they describe it in their announcement, but basically what we're talking about.
They did use revolutionary.
They did use that in their explanation, but I don't think it is. So, anyhow, what we're talking about is classified ads layered on top of Google Maps. And so it's a free service. Businesses, especially small businesses, this is all about targeting your audience, your neighborhood, the place that you want to hit with your particular classified ad, and targeting it from a mapping, layering perspective. So associate your classified ad to an area on a map, Google Map that is, and in an interactive web environment. I don't know if that's a proper explanation or not, but that's what it is.
Well, haven't we been? Didn't we get through this whole Google Maps mashup thing, like with all of the other classified services? Like, haven't we done this already?
I think so, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's supposed to be revolutionary, though.
Well, it is revolutionary, I think, but I think it's revolutionary for like 2007.
Okay.
But good try. I think the challenge here is that you got to get enough people using this service in order for them to be enough value. And when I went into New York City, I could only find a single coupon or a single classified. So
maybe they put it on a kiosk.
Well, that's right. It's just, they're waiting for Groupon to buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kijiji here in Canada and
sure.
And name a classified piece in the States. They've got all of these things already built into it. So not revolutionary. No, if you want to go and take a look at it, it's called adsonmap.com. It's a catchy name.
It's got a good name.
Yeah, definitely ads on map. Adsonmap.com. Certainly good for SEO. If you're looking for ads on a map.
Yes.
All right, fifth story, man. We got to slow down here.
No, I like this one. This is a good one.
This is a good story. I am very. I saved the best for last, I think, and I'll let you explain this story.
So the company's called First TransPennine Express. So this is a rail company in the UK, and they basically incorporate location-based information with information about their stations and travel options, and kind of put all that together in one place. So the idea is that users of the train service can go to this service, find their closest station. They're the first UK rail operator to do this. You can find live train arrival and departure information. You can find nearby restaurants, cafes, shops, taxis, all this kind of stuff related to where you're going. Weather is in there as well. But the idea is that you're traveling by rail and you need information that helps you find where the rail stations are, find navigational related information to your trip, and find stuff around you that you might be interested in. So I like how they combined all of this, and they even connect with other operators. So they've got information from bus operators and airlines and other things that you might be going to connect on to go further on traveling. So interesting.
I love this, Asif. Like, I love this. It's often the little things like this that we overlook, right? It's when we're trying to embrace this technology or the latest revolution in technology, we always try to leap ahead 10 steps, whereas the consumer or our user that we should be focusing on gets left behind. and is given something that is not really useful to them. And what I love about this, very clearly, is that they thought this through. You know, they have all of the other bells and whistles, apps and all that kind of stuff, but this is their mobile website. And to provide that kind of value to the consumer, to their customer, really goes a long way with me. It opens my heart to these guys because they get it. They understand.
Yeah.
They truly see the power of mobile, right? And they truly see the power of location and context. And, I love it. I love this. Whoever is in charge of this, Nick Donovan, you're my hero. I'm going to do a follow Friday for Nick Donovan because this guy rocks.
Yeah. And if you're in the UK and you want to check this out, it's their mobile website. So the URL is m.tpexpress.co.uk.
Yeah. And I love that piece where they have like the Manchester airport tied into this, so that like that just it's such tremendous value. Such tremendous value for the consumer, and everybody should learn from this example. That's all I got to say about these guys. TransPennine, first TransPennine Express, and go to what was that again? m.tpexpress.co.uk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, Nick Donovan. We should have some kind of like I don't know, some hero music, trumpets or something like that for people who get it, who add value to their organization. So congratulations, Nick Donovan. Those are them. 5 stories.
That's it.
Wow, was there anything there that stuck out for you? I certainly love the TransPennine story, and I love the competition. So we've got TrueKnowledge launching EV to compete with Siri in theory.
Right.
Wow, it's like EV Siri theory. Taazza launches LocalBeat in India. Groupon partners with SmartDigital on the kiosk. Ads on map.com. .com is the location-based classifieds, and first TransPennine Express brings location to rail travel, which is super awesome, super awesome. That's it. 5 stories. The week that was. The important things that you need to know going into this week. Lessons learned in all of those. So don't follow the good ones. Don't make the mistakes that the bad ones did. And you guys can decide that. So,
all right.
Listen, we have this great sponsor. Before we get into the actual product of the week, I want to talk about this great sponsor, Maponics. This is that Maponics minute that we bring in. We need your help. We need your help in driving awareness for this company. They've got a really great offer for anybody who is actually watching or listening to this or within earshot of this, to actually get a free 3-month trial of this service if you sign up at maponics.com/location. So help us by helping them. They're our sponsor. We love them. We want to show them value. So by signing up and participating in this and playing around with it, you actually help us do this show. So please go to maponics.com/location. And what do these guys do? I got to tell you, I have been slammed, with location ads, location-aware ads, where, it's funny because people think that drawing you in when you're close by is the holy grail of location. And while it is one piece of it, I really, I love this concept of shopping boundaries, which Maponics gets to a T. And maybe you can explain what shopping boundaries are, or what shopping boundaries are, Asif, and let's dive into this a little bit.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, we all understand, shopping districts or malls, or where there's kind of many stores or restaurants or consumers, all sort of in one tight geographic space. Every one of us has been in a shopping mall, and you know the environment that is. So the problem is that people in these areas are likely there to shop, and that's a good thing, but from a retailer or a merchant's perspective, the reality is that if they're already in a shopping mode, if they're already there and intending to shop, and maybe they went there to go to a particular store in the mall, you know, you have this sort of opportune moment if you've got them sort of fenced in or defined inside of that shopping boundary to kind of reach out to them and get them to maybe come into your store as well. And so it's this idea of, you know, can we increase, you know, or grab a share of the wallet, you know, from that consumer while we already know they're in a shopping mode. And that's one of the things that Maponics does really, really well, which is, you know, having these shopping boundaries or geofences predefined. And so, you know, if you're building location-based mobile apps, if you're building any of these things, you know, why go and to the work of creating these boundaries yourself or defining these geofences yourself when there's guys like Maponics who've already done it, who've already got it defined for thousands of these shopping districts or shopping boundaries in North America, and adding more all the time. You know, just go to these guys, try it out. You know, free 3-month trial, as Rob said. You know, maponics.com/location, and you'll see the power that's there. It's that simple.
In fact, we'll wait for you to do that right now. We'll wait. We can be patient. Please, go ahead.
Yeah.
Totally awkward silence. I love that. I love it. Maponics.com/location. Helping them, helping us. This is great. We love having them on board, and we can't say enough about them. These guys know their stuff. So maponics.com/location.
Right.
Did I say that? Yeah. All right. So I had a great opportunity to sit down with Matt O'Leary, the co-founder and CEO of a company called Shopcastr. And these guys are Toronto-based, Canadian company. And they really, you'll hear it in this session, which we're going to queue up in a second. But I really, you know, what I love about this, other than it's Canadian, it's innovative, is that they're taking this whole location and neighborhood shopping concept and driving people from their couch into local stores, which I think is very, very important.
Yeah.
And I love his approach. He's an affable guy, very good interview. We could have talked for hours, but had to cut it off at about 8 minutes. So enjoy this. This is Matt O'Leary, the co-founder and CEO of a company called Shopcastr.
Yeah, and one of my favorite LBMA members. I got to say that. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice plug.
Yeah. Shopcastr.
Shopcastr, no E. Shopcastr. Here's Matt. Well, as our product of the week, this week, it's a Toronto-based company, which is something that both Asif and I love. Toronto-based companies, Canadian companies, the more the merrier. That's what we say. We're an innovative bunch up here in Canada. This time it's Shopcastr, and I have Matt O'Leary, who is the co-founder and CEO of Shopcastr. Matt, welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Totally my pleasure. Love having Canadian companies. Can't have enough Canadian companies. Cannot have enough. That's a message to everybody out there.
All about Canada.
It really, really is. So, for those people who don't know about Shopcastr, why don't you, what's your elevator pitch? What is Shopcastr?
Yep, good question. Shopcastr is a really simple way for retailers to show off their products online from the web or a mobile app. We've made it really dead simple for them to do that, and it allows their customers and potentially new customers to window shop online. The beauty of what we've built is that everything you see is for sale nearby. So it's stuff in your city. Right now we're only in Toronto, but that'll change very soon.
So it's quite literally somebody takes a photo of a product from wherever they are, throws it up online, it goes to the Shopcastr website or your mobile device, and it's for sale right from the web or the mobile device?
Yeah, so not e-commerce. It's all about local commerce and driving foot traffic to the retailer stores. Okay. So what we found is the best content they have is the curated products in their stores. They're great merchandisers. They bring in really cool stuff. And most of their sites are out of date and stale and exist on their own, sort of tree falls down in the woods type scenario. So what we've done is brought them all together, and people coming off of other networks like Facebook and Twitter check out 5 or 6 other shops while they're there, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing, and that kind of stuff. So it's really great. So yeah, they basically take photos of products in their store, post them up to their page. They then go to our main feed, and then people can basically explore those products, love them, and they can go buy them in the stores.
So it drives them to the store. So it's not a transaction piece that you're literally getting people up off the couch into a local store.
Exactly. In fact, coming back to the couch, giving them something to do that's really, really fun from the couch, is to see inside all the stores. It's kind of like X-ray vision into those stores.
That's pretty cool. I mean, and it's exactly that. It's the local commerce guys. We talk about location-based marketing. It's awareness making. You don't know what's in these stores. You don't know what they're offering. What a great way for you to, as you said, couch surf the stores and then go in with a purpose.
Absolutely. I mean, I live in Leslieville. It's a big up-and-coming neighborhood in Toronto, and I've walked by at least 10 of our stores for the last 5 years. I had no idea they had cool products inside. And it's a little bit of, a commitment to go into these stores. You don't know if they're cool. So sure enough, on Shopcastr, I'm looking, oh my goodness, there's some really cool shops in my neighborhood. I better go check them out. Now I'm a customer to most of these stores. Now I'm also a little biased, of course, but hey, it's working. It's not working for just me. Don't take it from me.
It's not just, they don't have just one customer. You're just going around to all the shops and buying it. But that's a really interesting play, is that to drive people into the store. Because, I mean, that's the promise. And without giving discounts, which is the way that people typically would do, whether it's a Groupon or location-based discount, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like Groupon and all these discount type services, it worked really, really well for services, not products.
Yeah.
You can't mark down a product 90%, right, to get people into your store.
Best Buy does, and they're going to business, right?
Right.
Yeah. Sorry. I know Best Buy's not going to sponsor our show. It's okay. We know that. Well, what about the revenue model for you guys? So you're not doing this as a hobby. This is going to be a business, or is a business. So how do you guys make money off of this?
Yeah. So currently we're in like a beta trial period for the retailers, and we plan to just turn on monetization, and that will be a monthly subscription service. However, we're also thinking
for who? For the
retailers.
Merchants?
For the retailers.
Okay.
We'll have some tiered pricing packages that add, give them some more value. And we're experimenting with some other ideas as well. But, internal advertising and things like that, positioning. And then, we'll probably open it up for some apps and things like that as well. Yeah.
You mean like kind of opening up an API for people to integrate what you're doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
It seems to be the thing is that if you can get your product or your API into the stream, it's adoption, and that's where things start to explode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got a bunch of cool tricks up our sleeve. I probably can't divulge all of them, but
come on, we're friends. It's only my mother that listens to this podcast, anyway.
Nice.
And maybe Asif's, and maybe now yours.
That's right.
Oh boy. All right, so revenue is really about a subscription base, and obviously you got to show enough value for them. For every $10 they put in, they get 12 back, kind of thing, right? And
definitely,
that's what you're testing now, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're already seeing that our site is generating way more traffic for them than their own sites, like way more.
That's always nice.
And I mean, we've only been around for 3 months from like start to where we are now, like actually building the product. And some of our more active retailers are seeing over 10,000 product views in a week.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's pretty crazy.
And just Toronto, which is how do you roll that out? I mean, is your strategy concentration of stores in one location to test it before you kind of broaden it out?
Yeah, exactly. Right now we're really trying to prove the model. Like we want to win Toronto, so to speak, before we take on the next city. And we have we're planning that out and how that's going to roll out, and we're collecting data and figuring things out right now, and hopefully we'll be in our next city very soon.
Excellent. I got one more question about competition. A lot of maybe not competition in this space, but there are products out there that do a little bit of this. I think of Milk and Oink, and they allow you to rate product, and which is almost like a billboard. Is there differentiation between them? How do you guys differentiate?
Yeah, we find that a lot of the stuff you're talking about, like there's Oink, yes, but then there's, people are talking about Pinterest, Tumblr, WordPress, all these sort of things. Number one, none of these were built from the bottom up for retailers. And a lot of them actually, well, not Oink, but, others are focused on e-commerce, like Etsy and these other ones. And for us, it's, again, all about local commerce. Like the things you see on the site are for sale around the corner from you, in your city, that type of thing. So we think that's a big differentiator. And again, because we're building it with the retailer in mind from the bottom up, it's a very different experience we can offer them.
I love that focus, which is We want these local retailers to thrive, which is what we need for communities. We need it for neighborhoods. We need it for cities. And this actually drives foot traffic into those stores. Because once you get into the store, you've done your job, right?
Absolutely.
And then it's up to them to close that deal and make sure they make a lifelong customer.
Yeah, and we were extremely surprised about how many of the shops we visit aren't doing e-commerce and don't necessarily plan to, and the few that do plan to realize it's a separate business though. They're still going to have their bricks and mortar shop. They're still going to want to drive traffic to that shop.
I love it. I love it. You know, I'm going to get you on for a much longer Untethered.tv in-depth interview because it's a fascinating space. But that's all the time we have, Matt. I really appreciate you coming on and showcasing what you're doing. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much.
I've been speaking. So we've been Matt O'Leary is the co-founder and CEO of Shopcastr. Shopcastr is like Shopcastr but without the E.
Correct. We couldn't afford the E from Vanna, but
vowels are so damn expensive.
They are.
Go to Shopcastr, that's Shopcast, CASTR.com, Shopcastr.com for more information and start browsing some pretty incredible things up there.
Please. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks,
Matt. Well, you know, I love the fact, not only is it a good idea, it's an interesting idea to drive people, as I said, to the local venues. But Matt is the typical Canadian entrepreneur. I love the fact that they're from Toronto, and I love the fact that they just have this kind of local first approach. I can't get that out of my head. It stuck with me. So it was really great to sit with Matt, and I'm trying to get him for a longer interview on Untethered.tv because I think that there's much more there than that we can get into that short spot. But go to Shopcastr.com. That's SHOPCASTR.com. That's our product of the week. Shopcastr.com. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate you doing that. It was a good session. All right, so on to some funding news. Funding news.
Couple interesting stories.
Couple very interesting stories. I think we start with the story that is just a typical acquisition. This is a company called Descartes. They bought a company called GeoMicro. Descartes is based out of Waterloo, Ontario, buying a California-based company.
Yeah, so this is a mashup of Descartes is a leader in global logistics, tracking, vehicle asset management, tracking, all that kind of stuff. Been at it for a while. This is a company I've been following for a long time, and acquired a company called GeoMicro, which is a GIS platform company, routing, navigation, spatial data, etc. So an interesting combination here, because basically, what we're talking about here is that Descartes has a sort of cloud-based logistics network environment, and so when you combine that with the GIS technologies that GeoMicro has, what you end up with is this ability to verify addresses and track shipments and inventory and conveyance units and a whole bunch of things like that. So, whereas before we didn't have the core sort of mapping GIS data there, you just had this kind of sort of asset tracking capabilities, or the pure logistics side. Now you've got that kind of combined with the verifiable address data along the way. So I like it. It's kind of an interesting thing. There were no numbers. I didn't see any numbers. Did you?
No, I didn't see any either. It's but that's typical, I suppose.
Yeah, and Descartes is a public company, so we should be able to look that up later on. But
yeah, I like this. A little scrappy Ontario company buying a California-based company. That's what I like about it.
It's like a reverse takeover almost, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the other way around. So.
It is. It's usually a hollowing of Canada, extraction of talent, but now this is a good thing. We have some companies like that in Ottawa where they've gone out and acquired some California-based companies. Very few, but I like that. Second story. Now, Time Hop. This is riveting. Time Hop raises $1.1 million. Now that, first of all, maybe you don't know what Time Hop is, but that's not a lot of money, really. In the scope of things. Take it away, Asif. What is Time Hop? And then we'll talk about how much money that is.
Okay, so Time Hop is something that used to be called Foursquare and 7 years ago. It was created by two guys, Jonathan Wegner and Benny Wong. And these two guys were at the very first Foursquare hackathon back in February of last year. So that's where this thing came out of. And it was, as I said, originally called Foursquare and 7 years ago. And really what it is a service that allows or enables people to basically look back at all your check-ins over time. So present, real time, effectively. And sort of have the historical record of kind of what's been going on and looking at your check-ins that way. And then, they basically said, well, wait a second here, there's a product here. And so they rolled this out, and it was sort of not just Foursquare, but other similar platforms as well, where they were, sort of tracking historical usage and check-in data. And so they rolled this out, on Instagram and Facebook and a bunch of other things. So now it's called TimeHop. 1.1 million. The interesting thing is who the investors are in this. I think, and so this is just a little bit of personal money going into this thing from guys like Dennis Crowley and Naveen Salvandura, who are the two founders or co-founders of Foursquare. You've got the founders of GroupMe involved in this. So you got a bunch of interesting guys. O'Reilly's fund is a little bit in this as well. So 1.1 million is not a ton of money, and you got to think that this is really, let's keep this thing alive, and one of us will just take it out and add it as a feature to our product.
Okay, so.
Oh, you don't agree?
Well, I think that this is like, if this is a hobby play, then if this is fun, sure. But I just want to ask a question. Have you heard of this company called Facebook? It's like it's going public maybe this week.
Yeah.
It's filing a prospectus to go an IPO, probably the biggest IPO in the world has ever seen. Don't these guys have this little time thing called Timeline, right? Where we're all feeding our tweets and our Instagram photos and our Foursquare check-ins and everything else that we're doing in this entire world.
Isn't that what the Koala team's building right now?
Yeah, yeah, that's right, the Koala team. Yeah, so when I look at this, I think WTF. It's the only thing I think about. And whatever that means to you guys, whatever that means. It could be jubilation.
Well, we're like super negative on this show this week.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm ecstatic. Hey, listen.
We like trains, though.
We do. We like the trains, and I like the EV versus Siri and all that.
Yeah,
but
that too.
When I hear 1.1, this is definitely like play money for these guys. I agree, but this is the most ridiculous investment to get at 1.1 million. There are starving companies that are building things that are insanely awesome that can't raise $250,000, and these guys get $1.1 million so I can find out what I did a year ago on this day. Come on, that's all I gotta say. Stop drinking leaded water. Use your brain.
Yeah,
Facebook's going to do this. This company is ridiculous.
Well, they've already done it for Facebook, apparently.
Yeah.
So I don't get it, but anyways.
Well, $1.1 million. You know what? It just shows. WTF? You guys decide if I'm excited about it or not. But I am excited about the fact that somebody's raising money. TimeHop.
Yeah,
TimeHop.
And apparently a lot of people are raising money because that's going to be our next story.
It is good. Nice seamless transition. Get me off of that topic really quickly.
Yeah.
Our resource of the week, which is great, which is a mobile marketer story talking about the amount of money that is being invested in location-based marketing and mobile marketing, and I think that it's an incredible jump, and we haven't even really begun yet, quite frankly. Let's talk about those numbers, Asif.
Yeah, well, it's a huge jump. So this is from Mobile Marketer, and a study on venture capital investment in marketing, mobile marketing, and advertising. So when they contrasted 2010 to 2011, so apparently 128 million went into deals in 2010, 592 million in 2011. So that's a massive leap from that perspective, and they also looked at the levels for mobile commerce and payments, and equally it went from 276 to 558. So a lot of money going into this space, and I think it's really good because we keep talking about, this whole show is about location-based marketing, and a big part of that is mobile, and you're going to see this, and I think the one big thing, we talked about voice as being a big thing for this year, but I think the other thing that I think is a big thing this year is the integration between mobile and television. You're going to see a huge amount of money going into that space as well. that will get grouped, sort of lumped into this mobile advertising and marketing space.
Yeah, even though they're completely different paradigm, but they will get lumped into that. But this is a staggering amount of money, and I think it's great. But it's only $500 million, in perspective. Whereas I think that's just accelerating, and we're going to start to see much more invested in this. Quite frankly, I mean, all mobile is location. That's it. Right? That's the advantage that mobile has. It's just a dumb screen, but that knows where you are and knows all your patterns and your habits and everything. So this is going to be something that's going to be just escalating beyond. And I agree with the television piece. And
remember though, this is just the mobile marketing piece, right? Yeah. So this doesn't include all the other stuff that's going into mobile, right? Like
mobile's over $6 billion.
Investments at $1.8 billion. And $2.6 billion on the infrastructural side. So,
it's pretty crazy.
These are huge pieces. So we're talking $500 million going just purely into the marketing side.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a big thing. It would be interesting to relay this to the original piece around taking into consideration inflation and the value of the dollar. But when the first advertising boom happened, when television really started to accelerate 50s, 60s. But, how this is in relation to this in equivalent dollars. But I think that what we're seeing here is just the beginning, because quite frankly, not a lot of companies have understand this paradigm yet, this mobile paradigm, especially with location-based marketing, not like the TransPennine, because these guys are starting to get it, and when companies wake up. There's going to be a mad rush for services like this just to get to the baseline, and then we're going to start to accelerate into innovation. So that number is going to just skyrocket. Just technology is going to be invented left, right, and center.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was close to $1 billion for 2012.
No, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either at all. I think the infrastructure is necessary, but I think that as that kind of lays out, it's the service layer on top that's the most important, and we're going to start to see that.
Yeah, so we'll put that link up, but it's basically mobilemarketer.com is the site, and the article is venture capital investment in mobile marketing and advertising skyrocketed in 2011.
Sweet. That's it.
That's it.
That is it.
Done. 5
stories, 2 deals, 1 product, and a resource. What's that?
We're done. We can time hop it.
Yeah, exactly. We can look back and see what we were talking about this. If Time Hop goes public in a year, and I will eat my words. Time Hop going public. So nothing. You're in the city this week. We're going to see a Facebook IPO.
We'll talk about that next week, I'm sure.
We definitely will. And in episode number 63, please, you guys out there, really want you to support our guys here at Maponics. Really appreciate their support. In helping us get this thing going, moving the podcast forward. We want to show them value. We really appreciate it if you would head over to maponics.com/location, sign up for the free 90-day trial, no risk, no foul. You'll understand what we're talking about in these Maponics minutes, but we really do appreciate the fact that you support them. You supporting them supports us, supports this, supports the news. And, it'd be pretty lonely on your commute on Monday morning if you don't have Asif and I talking, right?
Agree.
So come on. And if you out there decide, hey, listen, you want to sponsor something like this, you want to reach our audience, which is growing at such an incredible rate, why don't you just reach out to us? You know how to do that. You can reach out at untetheredgmail.com. You can find us on Twitter anywhere. You can reach out at asif@thelbma.com. Just reach out. We'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, comments, companies you want us to feature, stories you want us to cover, same thing. Reach out to us. We this is our show. That's a group hug. Bring it all in. So, do you have anything else to add to that, Asif?
No, I'm good.
All
it's it's going to be another busy week. That's just the one thing we can be assured of, Rob, is that there's never any shortage of stories. When I go through this stuff on a week by week basis, and it's an effort to actually whittle it down and decide what to talk about. And because there's so many good stories out there. And another one, just to maybe point people at one more app to take a look at is take a look at an app called Highlight, Highlight. And another story I was going to talk about, but dropped it this week. So Highlight, Highlight. So this is an app that combines Facebook and GPS and real world connections. So take a look at that.
Highlight.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's it. So until next week, Asif, where we will do episode number 63 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing, we're done. Have a great week. Folks, thank you guys for watching or listening wherever you are. We'll see you next week. Asif, safe one.
Cheers.
Recording. It is time for This Week in Location-Based Marketing. We are at episode number 62. And today is what day? Today is the 27th, right? 28th.
29.